¿Qué tal, comunidad? Aquí es su abogado Ray Ibarra, malonado, enojado, frustrado, porque acaba de escuchar el Dream Act hearing. Voy a empezar en inglés. I'm going to start off in English, folks. Español después. So, Dream Act hearing this morning in the Senate. Everybody's been asking me what's going on with Dream Act, what's going on in the Senate. Today was our first insight into what's going on in the Senate with the Dream Act. So we remember, flashback, H.R. 6 passed the House, the Dream and Promise Act. Now it's in the Senate. It's been sitting there. Today was the first official movement on it when we had the Judiciary Committee and the Immigration Committee holding a hearing where there were witnesses from each side. There was a DACA recipient doctor that testified, awesome, telling his story. There was former trial attorneys with ICE, USCIS. There was a mom of someone whose their daughter was killed by an immigrant. So the tension obviously was there, the good, bad, and the ugly. So I want to take you straight to it, right? And I'll post the link in the comments. You can go forward and listen to the whole thing. It's 3 hours long. If you're interested in the Dream Act, definitely worth sitting there listening to the whole thing so you can form your own opinion. And I'm going to give it to you, my rundown of what I think happened today, what it meant, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So do me a huge favor, if you're interested in Dream Act, you know someone's interested in Dream Act, give us a share on this so they can be brought into the conversation, they can watch this video, because it's very important action items I think we need to be taking. We are not spectators, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Netflix where we're just watching something happen and we sit back. We are the creators. We the people are the creators, the movers and the shakers. We can actually force debate, dialogue, movement, and action, and that's what we need to do. But first we need to be educated about what's going on, so that's the purpose of this video today. So let's set the stage here. Senator Cornyn from Texas has previously not just voted but co-sponsored the Dream Act. So when you think of that, you think, wow, here's an ally. Maybe he'll be one of the 10 to get over the filibuster, right? Maybe Senator Cornyn will be on point and say, yes, he wants this Dream Act. So he starts his testimony by saying he's in favor of Dreamers, he's in favor of DACA recipients. Then he goes into the past bills, how many people benefited from that, the fact that there are 640,000 people with DACA right now, and here's what he says about the current version.
The American Dream and Promise Act would extend a pathway to citizenship for more than 4.4 million people. But as an example of how far afield we've gotten, the American Dream and Promise Act would not just apply to those who've come to our country as children, but this would extend a pathway to citizenship to adults who've entered the United States as recently as January the 1st, 2021. This legislation, of course, goes far beyond the original DACA issued by President Obama to include TPS. What temporary protected status has to do with the Dream Act or the DACA population is lost on me. This bill would also create a pathway to citizenship, as I said, for adults who've entered the country illegally as recently as January the 1st of 2021. To be clear, I support DACA recipients because they were brought here at a young age through no fault of their own, and they know no other country. But the American Dream and Promise Act has completely abandoned the justification in favor of rewarding very recent illegal entries a pathway to citizenship, and further incentivizing other migrants who may want to illegally immigrate to the United States, contributing to the flood of humanity that we are seeing at our border now that the president refuses to acknowledge as the crisis that it is. Radical policies that reward illegal immigration will not pass the Senate, and it's unfair for the DACA recipients to tie their fate to such ill-considered legislation. If our Democratic colleagues are truly interested in...
All right, so there you have it. Senator Cornyn's opinion on the bill as currently written. And he gave you his reasons for not wanting to support it. Recent entrance before 2021, the fact that what's going on at the border, too many people are in the program, et cetera, okay? All very negative stuff. That infuriates me to hear. A brilliant bill, a great bill to help many people, and we have this guy shutting it down at inception that it's not going to work, right? Here's what he goes on to say.
Passing legislation on DACA, especially the 640,000 active DACA recipients, a clean, bipartisan bill is the only path forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cornyn.
So there's a bit of hope there, right? There's a bit of hope. What he's saying is, I don't like the bill as written. Don't want TPS folks in there. Don't want people who recently came across. I don't want this. I don't want that. But I want to support the 640,000 dreamers who have DACA right now, is essentially what he's saying. DACA is really hard to get now. You have to have been here before 2007, been here continuously since that, a lot of documentation you need. DACA is getting harder and harder to get. So he's trying to limit a great bill to a smaller amount of people. He didn't say anything about throwing in more negative stuff, which was nice to hear. But it was very unfortunate that the Democrats keep going on this angle of needing the 10 Republicans on their side. How much watered down is this bill going to get to please Senator Cornyn? That is the question, right? Now let me just play a little bit. Played some Republicans, so I got to play the Democrats a little bit, right? So let's roll this for a little bit.
Cornyn, Senator Feinstein.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to begin by thanking you for really your tireless efforts over 2 decades to pass the DREAM Act. I also want to say that I really believe now this bill will pass. I think people are beginning to realize certain facts.
So she goes on to say great things about DACA and Dreamers, which everybody that watches this video is pretty much in agreement with. But you know what I'm sick and tired of? I am sick and tired of congratulating Senator Durbin for his efforts the last 20 years. And I've done it myself. You look at past videos, I'll be there with tears in my eyes saying, oh my God, Durbin, look at what he's done, look at what he said. He's told so many stories of people. He makes this an issue. Now that's all true. And he's got the receipts when talking about the DREAM Act, when talking about DACA, undoubtedly. But at what point do you start saying, I want results and not efforts? At what point do you say trying isn't good enough? Democrats, we don't want you to pat each other on the back about how hard you've tried. We want a goddamn bill. We want it passed. We want an application in our hands that we can send off to get someone a path to citizenship. We want results. You've been elected. Georgia. Now we have the majority. In a democracy, that's the way it's supposed to work. Majority wins. Majority writes the laws. The world changes. Why do you insist, Democrats, on congratulating yourself on your efforts of how hard you've been trying for 20 years, instead of saying we're sick and tired of losing for 20 years, we're going to get rid of this filibuster, we're going to figure out a way that this is about finances and get it passed with a 51-member vote, instead of saying, well, we can't get 10 Republicans because they don't like this, they don't like that. Enough! Sick and tired of excuses. We want results. There's the path to make it happen. Get rid of the filibuster and pass the DREAM Act once and for all, and stop congratulating yourself on your efforts that have failed year after year for 20 years. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We need different tactics. We need different strategies, because for the last 20 years, what you've been doing, Democrats, telling stories and patting yourselves on the back, hasn't gotten us the result that we need. So do us all a favor, community. Now we come back to community, right? And we get rid of just the bombing on the Democrats, but what are we doing as a community? I see Arizona Dream Act Coalition out there in front of the senator's office saying, get rid of the filibuster. I see United We Dream now in DC saying, get rid of the filibuster. But where is our mass movement? Where is our outrage from everybody? Business owners, community members, soccer moms, whatever group you identify with, of saying, Democrats, enough is enough. 20 years of failing, we're not applauding anymore. Get rid of the filibuster and get this passed. So that's what we need, ladies and gentlemen. We desperately need to get up here, get in the Democrats' face and say, get rid of the filibuster, pass this bill as written, because we just saw there what the Republicans are thinking. We know exactly what the Republicans are thinking. They're saying, water it down. Let's pass something that gives the bare minimum amount of people an opportunity for path to citizenship. So the only way we stick with these numbers of millions of people getting adjusted and getting citizenship is by getting rid of the filibuster and making that happen. Those are my thoughts. I mean, we're not even going to Senator Grassley today. Oh my gosh. Again, I'll post a link so you can watch a video yourself. You can hear the disgusting things he says about our community. And obviously, come on, he's not going to be one of the 10 that comes on board to get rid of the filibuster. Senator Cornyn Maney, but he's already telling us what we need to take out in order to make that happen, and he's just one. Everybody else is going to want way more than that taken out. So that strategy of going that route ain't going to get much. We'll be here 25 years from now congratulating Senator Cornyn and Senator Feinstein on all their efforts that have resulted in failures. So that is the news on the bill that passed the House, now in the Senate. If you have questions, comments, concerns, if you think differently, you watch the video, you're like, Ray, crazy. That was great. We're on the path to get this thing passed. Like Feinstein was saying, it's going to pass, as is. It could, but we got to get rid of the filibuster, or we got to pass it without having to get these 10 Republicans on board. All right? Throw those comments down below. I always love to hear your opinions. Of course, any questions, comments, concerns you have, throw them down as well. A lot of new stuff in immigration. And you know, the world is changing. The U visa thing was huge, right? Let's talk about that for a minute. And here's the U visa policy, which is just awesome. Victim of a crime, you're willing to participate in the prosecution. You got to wait 7 years, maybe 5 years for a work permit. They're saying now, nope, work permit and deferred action, which means if you're in proceedings, you shouldn't have to worry about being deported. What do judges say now? If you're waiting for your U visa, if you're 4 years in and you have a hearing, well, you can go wait in your country of origin for the U visa to get approved. So this takes that away. So some good movement here. Prosecutorial discretion as well. Right now there's an opportunity based on these factors here for us to go to the immigration ICE attorneys and say, hey, look at the length of residence, family service in the military, community ties, immigration history, all this stuff right here. Write some nice, we're going to do a lot of writing. Little finger's going to get tired, wrists are going to get tired, telling people stories. This is the beautiful part about being an attorney. An opportunity to tell someone's story and compel the government to not deport them. That's back. We didn't have that under Trump. We had it under the Obama administration. Now it's back. I'm very overjoyed for this. So good things. I don't just get on here to rage and say bad things. There's some good things. And what administration is doing this? The Democrats, Biden, the election. So yes, positive things. But when it comes to the negative, I'm not going to hold back either. All right? So what else has been negative that the Biden administration has done? Oh, let me see here. Oh, maybe a prosecutor going to a country, staying at a 5-star resort, flying in on a private plane, and telling people not to come to the country. Wow. The audacity to go somewhere, to a country, and tell people don't pursue your dream. Don't try to protect your kids. Don't make sure your kids aren't murdered. Don't make sure you aren't the victim of violence. Just stay there and take it. Because you're messing up our image. Absolutely infuriating to see this. When I first heard the vice president was going to Guatemala, I thought, great, opening up relations, opening up dialogue. How is the government going to help the problems that he originally created? And here's what we get. You kidding me? The audacity to go somewhere and not even go and see the poverty, the struggle, the violence, the lack of control from the government, and just say, don't come here? Hey, I made it. My parents made it past the border. They were able to get me a good education. Now I'm going to shut the door. That ladder that I climbed, I'm going to burn it, not let you come up. Unbelievable. So no, I'm not happy with this administration in this aspect, nor am I happy with the Democrats in their insistence on holding on to the filibuster and not getting us a DREAM Act. All right? That's where we're at today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to switch over to Espanol. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, still go ahead and drop them down, whatever language you prefer. Always enjoy hearing that information, those questions, those comments. So, comunidad, hoy había una audiencia en el Senado. Ustedes recuerdan que pasó la Cámara de Representantes el acta de sueños, incluyendo gente de TPS, para arreglar residencia, después camino a ciudadanía. En el Senado no hemos visto movimiento hasta hoy. So, hoy era una audiencia de testimonio. No había votos, no había decisión. Es pura la oportunidad de traer testigos a poner evidencia y poner testimonio sobre la propuesta. Entonces, los demócratas tuvo sus personas testificando, los republicanos tuvieron sus personas testificando, y nosotros podíamos escuchar directamente a los senadores que están involucrados de qué están pensando. So, yo voy a poner el link abajo de todo el video, son 3 horas. Recomiendo que usted, si está interesado, sí ver todos los 3 horas. Muy interesante el debate. Yo puse el parte en inglés cuando estaba hablando del senador Cornyn y el senador Feinstein. Senator Cornyn es muy importante porque él antes apoyó el acta de sueños. Él dijo claramente hoy que él no está apoyando la propuesta que pasó la Cámara de Representantes. Él está diciendo que hay demasiada gente, 4.3 millones, 4.4 millones de personas que pueden arreglar. Él no le gusta que incluya gente de TPS, no gusta que le incluya gente que recién entró al país. Y también el senador Grassley dijo cosas que a él no le gusta sobre los perdones para personas que tienen ciertos crímenes y otras cosas. So, para mí es obvio. Y yo no vengo a quitar el ánimo o entrar depresión a nadie, porque eso es políticas, pero tiene afectos en las vidas reales de personas. Pero estoy escribiendo la audiencia hoy. Es obvio que los republicanos no la van a apoyar. No, ellos no les gustan como está escrito. So, la mentalidad de los demócratas de decir, tenemos que buscar 10 demócratas a estar a nuestro lado, republicanos, perdón, a estar a nuestro lado para evitar el filibuster, es mal. El senador Cornyn estaba diciendo claramente, yo quiero apoyar los Dreamers, no quiero apoyar esta propuesta porque incluye demasiadas personas. Lo que va a pasar, los demócratas van a seguir intentando convencer a 10 republicanos a estar en su lado y va a ser menos impacto en propuestas si al fin de día llega a la mesa del presidente. Pero hay otra opción. La otra opción es que los demócratas no escuchan a los republicanos, no escuchan el filibuster y nada más pasarlo con 51 votos. El Arizona Dream Act Coalition sí está diciendo eso, están en el Capitolio hoy. El United Dream está en el Capitolio de la Nación hoy, diciendo la misma cosa. Y nosotros, la comunidad, tenemos que estar diciendo la misma cosa. No ver la televisión y escuchar que los demócratas están diciendo Ay, qué bueno, senador, usted tiene 20 años peleando por eso. Tenemos que estar diciendo a los demócratas enfrente de sus oficinas, enfrente de sus caras, ya tenemos 20 años esperando. Queremos resultados. No queremos palabras buenas. No queremos que usted presente en un taller, un foro. Queremos una ley que ya lo pasa, ya firma el presidente, para que ya podamos tener la residencia que camina a ciudadanía. Y hay camino que ellos pueden hacerlo. Lo quitan el filibuster, no lo usan, y ellos sí pueden pasar lo que pasó en la Cámara de Representantes. Y va a ayudar millones de personas. Es lo que escuchamos hoy. So, no pusieron otra fecha, otra audiencia, un voto, nada. So, sigue, si nos está viendo en YouTube, por favor pone subscribe, follow us en Facebook, TikTok, lo que sea, porque yo voy a hacer videos cuando ya salga más información sobre eso. Cosas buenas que también escuchamos sobre la visa U, ¿verdad? La visa U, escuchamos buenas noticias que ya lo van a estar dando, nada más un permiso de trabajo, pero acción diferida, que significa una persona no puede ser deportado mientras que está esperando sus 6, 7 años por la visa U. Es algo muy positivo. Si usted está en camino por la visa U, sí debe hablar con su abogado, la persona que hizo sus papeles, para estar seguro que también mandaron un permiso de trabajo, si no ya es tiempo de mandarlo. Y si está en proceso de deportación, debe avisar a su abogado que está en proceso para que pueda hacer una moción o un correo electrónico a los fiscales o los jueces del caso, porque eso sí es algo muy, muy bueno. ¿Okay? Puro a favor de nosotros y nuestra comunidad. También anunciaron los requisitos de pedir a los abogados de ICE de cómo parar el proceso de deportación de alguien. Los abogados ya pueden mandar un correo electrónico con nuestra historia de nuestro cliente, explicando por qué ellos no deben ser deportados, aunque si no califica por cancelación de deportación o asilo. Algo que quitó Trump, que era muy difícil por 4 años pelear casos de defensa de deportación, ya nos regresó ese poder, algo muy positivo comunidad, honestamente. Y otra vez, si está en proceso de deportación, es tiempo de contactar a su abogado, su representante, para decirle qué es su plan, su estrategia sobre eso también. ¿Okay? Nosotros, obvio, aquí estamos revisando todos nuestros casos para que ya mandamos a pedir al gobierno de cerrar ciertos casos. Hay ciertos, no todos los casos quieren ser cerrados. Algunas aplicaciones que a lo mejor tiene audiencia ya pronto y vas a ganar el caso, a un ajuste o un asilo muy fuerte, pues no quiere estar enfrente de la audiencia con el juez. Pero por los casos que no tienen remedios fuertes, otra manera de arreglar por USCIS sí es algo muy, muy bueno. ¿Okay? Y al fin, todos y me mandaron a preguntar mi opinión sobre eso. Perdón, comunidad, que no respondí antes. Ay, pero rompió mi corazón de escuchar eso. Una persona diciendo en su hotel de 5 estrellas, en su jet privado, ya no debe venir gente sin saber la realidad de qué están viviendo. ¿Cómo puede decir una persona no salir de violencia? ¿Cómo puede decir una persona no proteger sus niños y salir de su país? Es increíble para mí para pensar en eso. En vez de ir y decirle, mira, ¿en qué manera podemos arreglar los problemas que nosotros causamos? ¿Qué podemos hacer para estar más seguro ahí, más trabajos ahí? Dice, ¿no viene? No. Eso es increíble y un insulto bien grande a todas las personas en la historia del mundo que han hecho el sacrificio de emigrar para mejorar su situación y lo de su familia y lo de sus niños. Eso es algo que ha pasado. Es diciendo, mire, yo y mi familia ya, mis padres ya llegaron aquí, yo podía tener la educación aquí, ya no quiere que más entran. No. Todas las personas tienen derecho a buscar mejor vida, a cruzar fronteras para buscar una vida que ellos necesitan, la protección del gobierno en contra de organizaciones de crimen, saliendo en la pobreza, cualquier razón que tiene. Yo, en mi opinión, estoy seguro que pienso que los humanos tienen más derechos a buscar mejor vida que una nación tiene de decirle, no debes venir. Eso es mi opinión, comunidad. Si tiene preguntas, comentarios, como siempre, pueden ponerla abajo. Si nos está viendo en YouTube, por favor, pone subscribe. Si nos está viendo en Facebook, por favor, share el video para que podamos ser notificados más personas de lo que pasó hoy y lo que está más nuevo de migración. Aquí, como siempre, estamos para servirle. Cualquier cosa está nuestro número abajo. Que tiene excelente tarde.